Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to do a prepared statement. I'm Allison Krall, President and CEO of the Coalition. I've got Martha R. from Homeless Services Network and Lisa Portelli from the City of Orlando.
Don't hang them on mine.
Where this one will go now. I don't know. This one isn't.
I will. I just don't want to keep them.
Oh, that's not.
It actually, I was far enough back. Not this time.
There we go.
We starting over?
Yes, please.
Okay. We good? Yep. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today at the Coalition for the Homeless. I am Allison Krall, President and CEO of the Coalition, and I'm going to be giving a prepared statement. And then we've got Lisa Portelli from the City of Orlando, who will also be providing you with some information, and Martha R. from Homeless Services Network. And then we'll be available to answer any questions that you may have. And so, as you know, the Coalition has had a fire in our Men's Service Center. It's this building right here behind us. Happened on the afternoon of February 7th. And it's rendered our Men's Service Center unoccupiable, so uninhabitable. That's a result of both the fire, but also the water damage from the fire suppression system that created several inches of water across the entire property, and that is currently being assessed with a mitigation company to determine what the extent of the damage is and the timeline with which those damages can be remedied. But the result is that we had 237 men experiencing homelessness who were without shelter as of that moment. And so the community has come together in ways that are just unbelievable, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But the fortunate thing is, and the thing that I'm most grateful for, is that there was nobody injured, nobody hurt during this. We were able to get everybody out safely, both staff and guests, and so everybody's well. And I really just want to say that the community and our staff hold together to do amazing things in order to ensure that the folks who we serve had a roof over their heads last night, were provided with dinner, despite the fact that there's no longer a kitchen. And our biggest concern immediately was ensuring that the folks who had any kind of medical conditions that required prescriptions, that we were able to get their prescriptions from them out of the building before we relocated them. So we're able to accomplish all those things. I want to just send a heartfelt thank you out to, again, our staff did an amazing job, but this local community never, ever ceases to amaze me with the level of support that they provide. And I'm just going to name a few organizations that have been side by side with us as we walk through this crisis. And so, City of Orlando, Homeless Services Network, they're here with me today. They've been instrumental. Christian Service Center, Orlando Union Rescue Mission, Salvation Army, Shiloh Baptist Church, All Saints Episcopal Church, Orange County Emergency Management, Lynx Bus Service has been transporting all of our guests. With the operations down, one of the many challenges that we have faced is providing meals to all of our guests, because in addition to the men who live in this facility, the kitchen in this facility also serves our Center for Women and Families, which houses over 200 guests as well. And so we have been working to ensure that not only are we finding meals for the men who are being sheltered in other locations, but also for our women and families who continue to remain on site. And for that, so far, the partners who have really stepped up big immediately are Second Harvest Food Bank, Kingdom Culture Church, Universal Orlando, and again, the Christian Service Center. As a From an immediate needs standpoint, for those who have been displaced, their immediate need was for shelter, food, and clothing, but we are also working on that next level of supplies that are going to be needed. And I will say that it's important to us to not only be providing those additional needs for ourselves, but we want to make sure that any and all of our partners who have taken on some of our guests have all the supplies that they need in order to be able to accommodate our guests well. And so what we are looking for from a community perspective and how folks from the community can really assist this crisis in this community is, first and foremost, what a financial contribution does is it puts us in a position to be able to buy the things that we need. But in addition to that, we're looking for non-perishable food items. We're looking for men's clothing. The guys who are living here, fire alarm went off, they ran out of the building and were not able to go back in again. So they literally just had the clothes on their backs, and much of the clothing that they left behind has been damaged in the fire. And so we will be looking for men's clothing, men's shoes. We need razors. Most of our inventory of pillows and blankets and those types of things were destroyed with the water, and so we need those as well. Underwear, athletic wear, athletic pants, jackets, and anybody who's looking or interested in assisting with any of those contributions can go to our website. It's www.centralfloridahomeless.org, www.centralfloridahomeless.org. I just want to say, as we kind of face this crisis, Central Florida has done what Central Florida always does. When there is a crisis, the community pulls together to meet the need of that crisis. And I will say the last 24 hours, I have seen an unprecedented support from the overall Central Florida community. So thank you so much. Martha R., City of Orlando. Martha R. is not City of Orlando.
You want me to?
Lisa Portelli, City of Orlando.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Lisa Portelli with the City of Orlando. I'm Mayor Dyer's advisor on homelessness. This city, this county, this region has demonstrated our ability well to come together in a time of crisis, and we're seeing it once again. And Mayor Dyer reflected specifically on that this time. This has happened to our service providers, our most caring group of organizations that we witness their compassion and caring every day. And now to see them all rally around one another so that the Rescue Mission, the Salvation Army, the Service and Love Together, Shower Trailer, the Clean the World, all of the faith communities have come together to help them. It's just absolutely no surprise to any of us and no surprise to the mayor. So we are happy to be able to help in any way that we can. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. My name is Martha R., and I'm the CEO of the Homeless Services Network of Central Florida. Last name is spelled A-R-E. I know you're wondering. As Lisa and Allison have said, this has been a bittersweet occurrence. Awful that it has happened, but the response has been amazing. It does highlight, however, the ongoing crisis that our community has with people experiencing homelessness. We know that our unsheltered population, people who cannot get into shelter, has increased 75% over the last 5 years since right before COVID, and that's because our shelters are already full. So when we have a shelter like this that loses some capacity, it just exacerbates that. Our system had more than 1,800 people asking for help just in the last month, and half of them, it was the first time they'd ever been homeless. We're seeing more and more people becoming homeless for the first time. It's particularly including like our seniors population. We've never had as many seniors, especially women, becoming homeless. So this unfortunate event just highlights again the overall shortage of shelter bed capacity that we have in this community, given the needs that we're facing. And the needs are going to continue as our housing market continues to escalate in the way that it has. And so we are very grateful that everyone is pitching together to do everything that they can to make sure that the people who were in this facility are taken care of until they can come back to this facility. But we also just again acknowledge this just highlights what a limited inventory we have for these very important services. And so we're grateful, very grateful to the coalition, to the Salvation Army, to the Rescue Mission, all of the partners, but especially these shelters that are creating more capacity, and especially again to All Saints Episcopal Church out in Winter Park and to Shiloh Baptist Church. Just amazing the way that they've stepped up. So thank you.
You available for questions?
We are. I was just going to make one final comment, if you don't mind. It may answer your question. And that is as to what we anticipate the duration of the closure. Thought that might be important to folks. And so this is very, very early on in kind of managing this crisis. But what we are hearing in early indications is it may be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 days that the shelter is completely out of commission. Our hope is that at some point we're able to open part of it in advance of that, but we're probably looking at least somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 days to be needing these additional accommodations. So yes, and I think that any one of us would be open for questions.
This is very basic. What started the fire?
So we don't know. That's under investigation. OPD is investigating even as we speak.
You mean OFD?
It's actually OPD is involved, OFP is involved. Yeah, everybody's involved.
You suspected this is suspicious fire?
I don't suspect that. I don't have any indication that would indicate that. I just don't have a final answer right this moment.
Do you have any idea, was it a kitchen fire, if the kitchen's out of commission, or is it just kind of coincidental?
It was a fire in one of our dorms, which is directly over our kitchen. And so when the fire suppression system kind of went off, all that water seeped into that kitchen area, which is why the kitchen is out of commission right now as well. I'm so sorry. Hi, Maria.
Where will these people go? Where are they staying tonight and then the rest of the night?
So we are incredibly fortunate to have had several partners that have stepped up and are assisting us with the accommodations. And so Shiloh Baptist Church is opening up their gymnasium to accommodate men. We've got the Orlando Union Rescue Mission that has expanded their capacity to take on additional men. And we've got the Salvation Army who has expanded their capacity to take on additional men. And at this particular moment, we've got at least the next several days, and we will continue to stay on top of it and ensure that if anything changes, we will have accommodations beyond that.
So those 3 agencies for the next 10 days?
I would say that we've got commitments for the next several days, and we will reassess in several days. If there is more we need to do, we will continue to work it.
So it's your belief that the people who had a roof over their head on Tuesday will continue to have a roof over their head for the next few days, thanks to your partner?
I would say that they will always have a roof over their head. We will ensure that with our partners and with this community coming together, that none of the men who are staying here will be unsheltered.
A question for Lisa about the shelter capacity that was mentioned before. Does the city have any plans currently in the works to add or expand that capacity? Any projects coming up that would do that?
Our region has identified the need for additional shelter beds, and our community is asking us to bring forth additional shelter beds because of the rising increase in the unsheltered. So yes, the city is actively pursuing another shelter, but we have not located a site or a service provider at this time.
Allison, one more question, please. Yesterday I saw you mention it was a blessing in disguise. Why do you think that is?
You know, the only blessing that I see coming out of this, and when I said it, I was really just thinking of the community coming together. That blessing has nothing to do with the crisis. It's more just seeing that when crisis happens, this community comes together.
What is your message for people that were here, saw when it happened, and now they're having to go to different places? What is your message to them?
So for our guests who have been staying with us and who are throughout the community, they are our top priority. Everything that we have focused on since the moment that this crisis happened was how to ensure that they are well taken care of. And we are working with our partners to not only ensure that they've got a bed, kind of a roof over their head, But in addition to that, they've got all the care that they need. So we're providing staff on site at some of the different locations. We're working with our donors and volunteers to ensure that any kind of supplies that they need are there for them. Really just looking to make sure that our men feel well taken care of.
What would you say? I mean, we were sitting outside for a few hours today, and certainly we saw the Universal truck come in, and Shiloh Church, and the Rescue Mission, all of these big partners of yours. But we've seen a lot of just folks driving up today, grabbing a hefty bag full of clothes, some sneakers out of the back of their van, and sending it by your front gate. That's got to make you feel good.
I got to tell you, the coverage that we got yesterday when this first hit, and the supply drive, the supply needs that were thrown out there, the community has absolutely stepped up, and we have increased our staff that is accepting those donations. We've got volunteers that are accepting and sorting those donations, and what we're doing is determining which location is best for which donation. Right? So we're now providing services in 4 locations, and so who needs what, and ensuring that they all have what they need. So absolutely. This community has been incredible. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Tell her that, Martha.